You're listening to Riacast, a podcast of the Southwest Florida Real Estate Investment Association. Riacast brings together a variety of real estate entrepreneurs from all over the world to share tips and ideas. The core purpose of the Southwest Florida RIA is to help members become more profitable and successful through networking, education, and empowerment. Here are your hosts, Jeff Tamarello and Michael Lyons.
Hi, it's Jeff Tobarello. I'm the director of the Southwest Florida RIA, the broker owner of, or one of the owners of Steelbridge Realty, also a member of Venture Investment Partners, which is a investment platform. We focus a lot on land, a little bit in Georgia, also a little bit here in Peru properties. Here to talk about the August 2025 Lee County, Florida foreclosure report. We have been doing this report forever and a day. Disclosure, my work done for me and shared with you. In uncertain times, it's easy to overreact, but let's stay grounded and honestly just pay attention to the numbers. There's a lot of misleading headlines out there. The headlines are designed to engagement farm so people can make money. I actually admin a sports related page and we're actually making money because our football team's terrible. It's kind of interesting, but I understand how and why people would do it with real estate, but it is bad if you're the person using this information to deploy your capital. Again, what's driving your next investment or life decision? Hopefully, it's numbers and not headlines. And foreclosures drive negative price pressure. Nothing drives a market up like banks and loose liquidity. Nothing drives a market down like bankers cleaning off their balance sheets from that previous excess. And 2025 brings a lot of new dynamics, both cyclical and secular. There's two perspectives when it comes to these things in real estate. Each one of them has different dynamics. So here we always start with this. This goes back to this December of '06 to kind of show you the GFC buildup and what a really bad foreclosure market looks like, and then where we are today. This is since 15. I mean, since 2015, we have not broke 160 mortgage related foreclosures in a month. So just to give you perspective, that's 10 years. So you could kind of deem that a normal market is, I would say, under 200, just to be safe. Here we have since December of 2020, the pandemic. That's what most of the headlines are drawing from is the pandemic shutdowns of the market. So you just have to understand that perspective. Overlaid the GFC foreclosure filings over where we are today to give you an example of when people want to compare this to 2008. Here is the distress, the list pendants trend. Here it was back then. By this point in this cycle, we had already started to taper down and head towards what eventually became the second wave, which was a bump. But by then, BlackRock and folks decided they liked real estate, and honestly, they bought most of it. This is Lee County average pricing from the MLS, all residential types in a blender. Found that you get the best insight when you have the most amount of lab rats in an equation. Kind of shows you the linear trend line, just kind of gives you an idea of a base going to and from. You had an overvalued market, undervalued market, overvalued market. Per this trend line, it says we're at even money. It's too early to decide that, but it really gives you an idea. It really also talks about the debasement of the currency and what I always say this, your house isn't worth that much significantly more. Your dollar's just worth significantly less. And this chart shows you of what holding real estate long term does. It protects you from that. Pulled it up from basically the bottom of the last cycle forward to give you some idea as well. Because we talk about this at Southwest Florida RIA meetings a lot. The economy and the housing market has fundamentally changed since '08 because of what they have done with the monetary base. And we are in my opinion, a much more, you can call it measured, you can call it manipulated, you can call it engineered, however your biases need you to relate to it. but they have a lot more input on the economy now at the macro level. We'll just leave it at that. This shows sales counts and pricing, and that's the dance to watch. Sales counts tend to go up when pricing goes down, and vice versa. And at some point, when you have sales counts and pricing going up, you tend to have that's usually a mania. So, but you can see where on this chart, when they bump, it's usually some sort of divergence. We're waiting for these to bump again for divergence to the upside. Closing thoughts. There was 253 raw list pendants filings. Of these, 113 were mortgage related. The majority of the rest were tied to construction liens and HOA liens. The construction liens are probably most of what you're seeing. A bunch of contractors, lien enforcement. There's people suing their contractors. So there's a lot going on there. And again, we do this for context, not clickbait. Today's foreclosure activity is only a fraction of the really, we have 08 to 010 there, it was really 07 to 010. What we're seeing is really a normalizing distressed market. There's supposed to be foreclosures. Somewhere right now, we're in the low hundreds. I say up to 200 is about normal. I've said this before, at 400, I would really start paying attention. If you have any thoughts or questions, just leave us a comment or actually come to a meeting and ask a question. I look forward to seeing everybody. We do have a meeting tomorrow. And again, if you have a thought or a question, just leave a comment where you're watching this video.
This concludes this edition of Riacast. Be sure to subscribe to receive our next episode. You can also subscribe at our website, www.swflreia.com. See you at a meeting soon. Please let us know if you have a suggestion for a future episode.